kind of a weird video for me because I don't really talk about boots and shoes and clothes on my channel very much. But these are ones that people ask a lot of questions about, and I want to talk about a brand called Palladium. So Palladium makes boots, and these ones, I don't even know the name of them. I haven't been able to find, again, which ones they are. They're kind of funky. They look a little bit like military boots. They are getting pretty worn out by now. These used to have really big treads on them, and they're fairly worn down. But these boots have been many miles now all over the state, all over the country, in fact. And they have this weird little pocket in the back. People always ask what's in the pocket. And this one has a little bit of birch bark and a fire steel, because I would use these on crafting trips, bush crafting trips. And I found that they were like a little bit water resistant to begin with, and then I sprayed them, and so they absorbed a little more, and they're just enough that water can kind of brush off of them if I step in a puddle or something. But they're comfortable. They do have a little bit of a heel. Some people don't like that. Palladium boots tend to be just slightly narrow unless you order a wide size. But for me, as a guy who's 6'5", and I'm not overly heavy, but I weigh about 200 something pounds, I found that these just give me a proper grip for hiking, walking, and then I can also use them on regular tarred and paved roads as well, and they're comfortable, not extra noisy, and they're pretty light. I like the features of these. These weren't quite as easy to throw on every day, so I did something. I went from these, and then I went and got some of those fast lace-up ones. And by fast lacing, they basically don't have laces. They're just shock cord that have a built-in piece in the back where you can tension and tighten that according to whatever your ankle tension needs to be, so they stay comfortable and don't rub against your feet. These are incredibly light. They're just super light. They have a very similar tread. I would say it's almost the same, maybe a little bit harder material on the other ones that I had, which are more of an outdoor boot. This is more of a regular casual wear boot. I think they are not waterproof, and I know that for a fact now. They're just barely water resistant. They're not very tough, but they're meant to be just a very lightweight shoe or boot. And I find that in the wintertime, they have enough resistance for just snow and that sort of thing that I like these boots a lot, and I like the look. I like the feel. They're comfortable. They don't hurt my feet even after standing in them for a long time. I wore these at SHOT Show for sometimes I think 12 or 14 hours at a time. And they were very comfortable by the end of the day. My feet didn't hurt, and they're just so easy to pop on. I don't have to hardly bend over at all to lift them up. I can just kind of slide into them depending how you set them up. So I like these, but they're not waterproof. They also don't have any temperature resistance at all. So they're fine for warm weather, not really fall or cold weather unless you have appropriate socks with them. So I went out and got a pair of waterproof boots. These are kind of a mix between the other Palladiums. So these are much more rigid material. They're tough. They're also fast lacing. So it doesn't have laces. It has kind of a tougher type of shock cord, as well as on the tongue, it has a place to set your tension for how tight you want them to fit. It does have some internal breathability in the skin, but it's not very porous because they are waterproof fairly high in the shoe. The tongue is going to cut off right about here, and then when your foot is in there, it kind of makes a nice seal on the front. So water splashes off. It tends not to run in my boot, even if it goes a touch high. And these have a much more durable bottom, it seems to me, than the others. It has more of a tread pattern all the way around the sides. And these I don't mind getting, just straight up in water. I've been in water about this deep, standing, walking through it, and I've had no water come through or penetrate. One thing that's interesting about these versus the other boots, maybe I'll just show you for a second. These all look like a similar color, and that's because they are. When these get wet, they mildly darken. When these get wet, they get really dark. And when these get wet, they get really dark. And it looks like it's permeating the surface, or at least the first layer. Maybe it is, but it does not go beyond that. Whatever the barrier is here, the mesh layering, it keeps water out, and it is 100% watertight. Even as I've worn these out through the season, around the toe cap, no water is getting in. It seems to be epoxied or glued in really well. And I like these because of the grip and tread pattern. I feel like if there was an emergency and I needed to run, or I was doing some climbing, which very often there's a mild amount of climbing in the backcountry work that I do, or range, run around with rifles, that sort of thing, hunting, these have appropriate tread for either place, and they don't look out of place when I wear them around on a regular day. So again, Palladium didn't send these out to the channel. They don't sponsor my channel. They didn't give me discounts. I don't have a discount code for you. I don't even know where the best place is to buy these, nor do I know all the names of them all. But I'm just gonna say that I actually really like Palladium boots for a little bit of defensive use, tactical use, hunting use, outdoors, some degree of weather resistance. Hot weather or cold weather, it seems like you can find something that works well, and every once in a while their prices and their deals are really considerable. They'll go about half price at certain seasons during certain holidays, and I just like them. They're cool. So all you guys who have been asking questions about what are those boots, what are those boots, here are the boots. These are the only ones I own, and I have no reason to probably buy another pair because they last kind of a long time.